All right, the time is 6:32. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Our first item of our agenda is a need to go into executive session, with the recommended action being a motion to go into executive session for discussion on employment history of a particular person and negotiations.
Moved.
Moved Mr. Borkett, seconded Ms. Kay. Are we just doing hand vote? All those in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor? Any opposed? Carried. We are in executive session as of 6:32 and plan on coming out no later than 7 p.m. to continue with the rest of our regularly scheduled
large divide in our... Not yet. We will give you a cue. Yes.
You'll be number 4. Okay.
I got my own table. You guys are all cozy over there.
People want to be in there, they look
I
nice.
guess that's it. Yeah, handsome guy.
We good? Okay. All right, the time is 7:05 and we are out of executive session. Moving on to the rest of our business meeting. Agenda item 3, opening. We'll begin with the reading of the land acknowledgement by our student representative.
Akron Central School District acknowledges that we gather on the traditional lands of the Tonawanda Seneca Nation. We honor the contributions of the indigenous people past, present, and future with the gratitude for the land as we continue to work together with a spirit of respect and understanding.
Thank you very much. And I'd ask everybody to rise and join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And with that, I'd turn this over to Ms. Taylor for our mission statement and student representatives.
Okay, well, I have some certificates here. I'm going to ask either Mr. D or Mr. Brett to help me pass these out. So we are very excited to welcome our students and our representatives from Just Build It to come on up and share information about their trip. But before we begin, we are going to start with the reading of our mission statement.
The mission of Akron Central School District is a learning-centered community dedicated to the dreams of the students, is to ensure that each student realizes his or her unique human potential and contributes positively to society through a system characterized by valuing the unique gifts and dreams of each human, developing all dimensions of each human being, advancing the knowledge, skill, and wisdom of each student, nurturing and respecting the dignity of each human being, and cooperatively working to continuously create new realities.
Okay, so now is the opportunity to share information about your trip. And I think you shared a presentation with us. So Mr. Schreiber has that going, and then there should be a clicker right on the podium.
Jeez.
Or you can just point to Mr. Schreiber like I often do when I'm presenting.
Hello, I'm Marlene Stone, and I am here representing, together with Patty Buckley, the two that build this program every year. We are entering our 10th year of making this trip possible in this community. And I am here to just quickly, briefly talk about why we go to the Elizabeth Seton Nutrition Center, which is located in La Saona, Dominican Republic. Their mission there is to combat malnutrition. We help them to do that by addressing some of the physical needs at the center itself. You've heard about the different projects over the years we've done. You're going to hear about some more of them. And I think that the relationship has fostered a pretty successful decade of projects between Akron and the Dominican. Little fun fact is that Buffalo and Bani, Dominican Republic, which is where La Saona is located, they are sister cities. So, thank you.
Good evening. My name's Patty Buckley, and I'm representing the Akron Newstead Rotary Club. Through the past 9 years, we have been nurturing our relationships between the Akron businesses, our Interact Club, our Lady Lions, our Rotary Club, and our Lions Club. through the business partnerships, they often sponsor our projects as well as part of our trip. They also donate a number of products, as well as some of the business owners also attend our trip. Our Interact Club, for the past 9 years, we've had the Interact Club very lively at ACS. Matt is doing a phenomenal job as our current advisor, and we have students obviously attend the trip with us. Our Lady Lions, we do have members attend our trip as well, and as I had said, they do sponsor some of our projects and the trip. Our Rotary Club, year after year, we do have our members attend the trip as well as sponsor certain projects. And the Lions Club are always a great project sponsor. Some of the projects we've done that you heard about, we did do the eye clinic, and we also partner with the Bonnie Lions Club doing that. And they help us obtain the doctors down there. They had a news station come down there, as well as help one of our blind students go to a doctor to be seen properly for further evaluation. We've been able to obtain some grants through our Rotary Club in working with certain projects down there that allows us to double our money. We've been able to buy certain things like computer equipment, hemoglobin machine, and exhaust fans, and any other things that the Nutrition Center does need. One of the things people often ask is why are we doing this international trip? Why Bonnie? And one of the things we tell them is international is in our name. It's in the Lions Club name. It's in Rotary's name. It is one of our avenues of service, as well as youth is another avenue of our service that we do like to partake in every year. And we do think it's a powerful way to expand and make an impact, not only locally here in our community, but with the community in Bonnie.
Hello, I am Molly Rooney, and one of the first jobs that when I came here, the most meaningful thing I found was how our hard work really impacted the children in simple ways. It didn't have to be fully super expensive things, just a simple thing as gardening and maintaining the little grass and flowers they had really made the experience better for them. And we also painted their play center, the ground. It was just a gray color before, and we added fresh paint, and we added a 4-square box. We added caterpillar with numbers on it, and just the color, and to see the impact of how just a simple task of painting made the children so happy, and you could connect with them, even though you might not have spoken the same language with them. The simple paint really opened opportunities to play games with them, and you could just see the children and their laughter. And I think that was very impactful to me for this trip.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Amirian, and on the first day of the trip, we celebrated one of their holidays with them. And I just remember dancing with them to songs that I didn't even know what the words were saying. And it just made great memories playing games with them and just having those meaningful connections. And then on the 4th or 5th day, we had another day of just talking to them, reading to them, playing games with them with that new 4-square court and everything. And yes, we didn't speak the same language, but we definitely knew that we had a lot of fun. So we made a lot of connections.
Hello, my name is Mira Crayer, and through this, I would like to talk about some of the things that my fellow members have already touched on. One being the holiday party. This was for, if I recall, Dia de Duarte. Don't know if I'm saying that right, but I got it right, so that's a win. But through this day, we really got to experience the culture, and though we were not able to connect with them through language was the barrier, but what really would have been the barrier is not trying. And every single one of us, chaperones, children, all of us got to interact and try to have the best time that we can. Through this, we got to experience their culture, how their day-to-day is, and what brings them joy. Some of the smaller things like these little plastic helicopter things that you spin and they fly up in the air, they absolutely adored playing with those. And other things like new books and new coloring things, the painting that we've done on the floor, all of those things that we would consider just there, they found so much joy in. And we were able to get a lot more books and toy donations throughout members of the community, which we are thankful for. Sports equipment was donated, as well as multivitamins and shoe donations. We really got to see how different people come together for one thing. And one of my favorite memories personally was this little girl who kept giving me books, and every time I couldn't pronounce a word right, she'd give me another one hoping that I would try and do better. But it brought her so much joy to see me try, and I think that's what made it so special, us trying and them trying to help us. And I thought that it was a learning experience through all. And I just think that anybody who's able to participate or go on it in years in the future has the opportunity to and will take that chance, because it's truly life-changing on how this affects everybody involved. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Whitley Koopman, and this is Hannah, and I'm going to talk about what was one of my favorite parts of the trip. And we did not do this the last time I went, but this year we were each given a $40 budget, which is quite a bit of money in the Dominican, and we were allowed to choose our own mini project around the center to work on. So me, for example, I chose to buy door handles and lights for the bathrooms because all of them were broken, and they use the bathrooms all day every day, so that was quite a big deal there. And other people chose different smaller things, but I'll let Hannah talk on hers.
So I got to look around and find there were a lot of outlets that didn't have covers on them, and they had wires sticking out of them. So we got to go around and count them all up, and we figured out what we needed. So we went to the store and we bought outlet covers, and we were able to screw them in and stuff the best we could. There was paint dried over a lot of the holes that we had to screw into, so that was kind of tricky, but it was interesting to see the way here that's completely unacceptable, and down there they didn't really have the chance even to cover those. So it was really nice being able to help with that.
Mm-hmm. And once again, oh my gosh, it was definitely, I think, a great experience for us as the students going, because we felt more involved with the projects. Yes, we built shelves and organized the classrooms, we stuccoed walls and did larger projects there, but those were not necessarily chosen by us. It was what the center needed, but these we could go look around, find problems that we saw, and then use our own resources and ideas to fix them. So that was really a great opportunity. I think we're good. Yeah. Thank you.
Hello. Okay. Hello, I'm Austin Vandenbosch, as you might know, and this is Ava Lombard. And when you take this long trip, which you know what you're expecting, language barriers, a different community, you just have to understand that when you get there, it's not knowing that the 5-year-olds have better Spanish skills than you. It's understanding that you need to make a connection with them, whether that's playing the games with them or trying to talk in a really bad speech conversation with them. And one of the people I made a connection with during this trip was our tour guide. Translator and tour guide, basically, Esther, which she was this amazing woman that you see getting off the plane and you're like, who is that? I know what your job is to do, but who are you your entire life? So I bonded with her over the trip, and you just understand how she just does everything for you. You feel so grateful that she knows her way around the entire country, basically. It felt like it. So by the end of the trip, I was so sad to see her go, and we just all had a special bond with her.
As Austin very kindly introduced me, my name is Ava Lombard. This is my second time going on the trip. I went when I was a sophomore and then this year when I was a senior. And so as like that unique perspective of getting to go twice, I got to develop like connections with the people at the nutrition center, and also we met up with the Bonnie Interact Club there. Both times that we went. So like I've developed friendships and connections that, I mean, social media makes it a lot easier nowadays than it probably used to be. But like I stay in contact with these people, and when I got to see them again, it was incredible. Like we like are friends with each other, and that's just like wild to me as somebody from a whole different country than them. And it's just so important to realize how easy it is to make a connection with somebody when you just try. Because like it's not going to be perfect, but like no relationship is perfect. Even, you know, you both speak Spanish and you're the same age, and I speak English and you speak Spanish, and we can have the same kind of friendship. And there's like a picture also of, we went to an all-girls orphanage that's sponsored by Rotary in the Dominican Republic. And we were connecting with them over like our common interests, because at the orphanage they're taught English, and so they want to practice their English, we want to practice our Spanish, and so they're asking us like our favorite movies, and we're kind of talking about how like they're not that different. You know, the girl says her favorite movie is like Moana, and we're like, I love that movie. And so it's like it just showed us how much more in common there is than there is different. Like we're all kids, we're all this like nearly the same age, and we have so many similar interests that it's very important, I think, to recognize we should focus on the similarities rather than the differences between us, and we can really form meaningful connection.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mr. McHale. I am the Interact Advisor. Some of the things that I learned on this trip, specifically in watching these kids, is the impact that individuals can have when they just want to do good. Some of the stuff that they were saying about building connections, one of the school's priorities is respecting the dignity of each individual. And we went through communities where you see just small shacks with parts that are falling apart, and yet you see all this joy in the community, and the kids gravitated towards that. They loved that. They loved learning about these people. They loved building connections with them. And they keep bringing up the language barrier, but it was less of a barrier than you realize, because all of our kids were just putting out positive energy and that desire to help and that willingness to learn and that willingness to listen and that ability to be patient, that people just flocked to them. The kids at the center went up to them knowing that they couldn't speak Spanish, but were just hugging their legs and pulling them one way when they didn't know what they were saying, of like, let me show you what game I want to play. So watching all the kids be patient with them and just grow and learn. And one of the things that's happening with graduation, New York State is doing the Seal of Civic Readiness. I have not met individuals who embody this idea more of being civic, being ready to go into their communities and make a difference than these individuals behind me. It takes a lot to do what they do. They are full-time students, they have jobs, they are on sports, they run clubs, and they still find time through the Interact Club to volunteer several hours throughout the year, which qualifies them for one of the criteria in the Seal of Civic Readiness. One of the other ones is a service learning project of a minimum of 25 hours. And these kids did back-breaking work, hauling 100-pound bags of cement, where originally I'm like, all right, 2 people at a time. And then I saw Whitley throw 1 bag on her back. So I'm like, all right, I'm an adult man. I think I can keep up. So watching these kids just put in such effort pushed me to want to do more and want to give more. And even when we had these big projects of we're going to re-cement the wall, we're going to paint this part of the playground, we're going to build these shelves, we're going to do this project, they came up and they're like, can we do extra? And that's when we implemented all right, if we set aside a budget for you, can you take ownership? Can you go see something that you want to fix? And I think that's such a powerful thing. So many things in life and in education and in parenting, sometimes we just want to like give them like, here, do this, do this. And this, we really wanted them to be leaders and say, what is it that you want to do? We're willing to listen, we're willing to work with you. But if you can come up with a plan and it's something that is feasible and doable, we would love to support that. And then we set them free to do it. Not set them free like they were supervised, but we said, all right, let's go get those supplies, let's go do this. And to see how much good they did in that short amount of time was phenomenal. So yeah, it was a very, very positive experience, and I think greatly prepares them for some of those diploma seals. Thank you.
Hello again. The last thing I would like to touch on is the idea of giving versus receiving with service. Going down to the Dominican, we all went with the intent of serving the community, but in reality, they served us so much. I personally got so much out of the trip. Like as an 18-year-old graduating senior, I'm basically being told, oh, go find your life, pick what you want to do, choose your path, and that's pretty scary. So going on this trip and gaining new perspectives, like I know I want to serve a community. Like it was so fulfilling to see people actually appreciate what I do, and being able to do something that truly helped other people was so fulfilling. So this trip has really helped me find what I would like to pursue in life other than just career and money and that type of thing. So I'm forever grateful, and I truly hope other people can get the same experience.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think it's one of the biggest reasons that like this trip has persisted over the years is that as the board, you've seen, the community has seen, the school has seen how much impact the trip has on the students who go, as opposed to just the students like at the nutrition center and the community that we're serving. It has such a great impact on us, and obviously similar to Whitley, I have to like figure out what I'm gonna do the rest of my life, and I've been so greatly impacted by the organizations that help us to be able to do this trip, Rotary and Lions and Lady Lions, that like I want to go into service in my future. And the college that I'm going to has a Rotaract program, which is like Rotary and Interact, and they put it together. A little intermediate that I want to join, and I've written college essays about this, and I'm very passionate about this, but it's all stemmed from this opportunity that was granted to me by the community that supports this trip. And yeah, the trip just has so much impact on the students who go, and I think it's very good that the community supports it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, before you go anywhere, does anyone have any questions to our presenters? I have one question. So if a student were to come to you, say a sophomore, and say, hey, heard you went on this trip, is this something that you would recommend I do? What would you tell them?
I have just the answer for this. I would say anybody and everybody should try this out. If you're an adult being like, I don't know what to do, should I join? Yes, you should join. This is a phenomenal experience that is so life-changing, like everybody has talked about. And if they have any questions, I'm sure everyone will be able to tell them exactly what they did and exactly how much it meant to them. So to reiterate, I think that everybody should go, and like if there's any questions, Mr. McHale will always be able to answer them. In Spanish.
Well, I, for one, would like to say we are so incredibly proud of you. Thank you so much for representing Akron so many miles away, and for how you have given back not only to your school community and your own community, but far beyond. I just want to truly and sincerely thank the adults who made this trip possible, and for giving our students experiences that they will never forget, that I've heard will have a powerful impact on changing, in some cases, the trajectory of decisions that they want to make in the future, but really creating opportunities that there is no way we could provide in a classroom to be able to learn what they did on this trip. So incredibly proud of our students and our community organizations that work together and include us in the opportunity to be involved. So just thank you to everyone, including, I see some parents in the background. Thank you for sharing your kids with us and for letting them travel so far away. I know it was probably a little nerve-wracking for them to be that far away from home. Mrs. Stone did a great job of sending me, I felt like a mom because she was sending me daily updates to make sure that everybody was doing well and okay. I also saw some really great meals that you guys had along the way.
If anything, go for the food. I miss the avocados. I love avocados.
And I learned that Mr. McHale has some dance moves. I saw some of those pictures as well. But thank you so incredibly much. Are there any other comments or questions from the board?
Just a quick question, which maybe you guys are already on top of, but I'm wondering how much of this impact do we share with the students? Like, I'm thinking as a mom, I'm like, can you go tap my kids and be like, hey, go do this thing? Like, what kind of things can we have in place to continue to spread your impact to the kids within Akron and let them know about this program and encourage them to join?
How about we both go up? You go first, though.
I don't know if we do a big like student-wide thing, but I know when we come back, when we do our Interact meetings, we have some of our kids who have gone on the trip before talk to the underclassmen and talk about some of their experiences, talk about some of the stories. And even when the meeting ends and people are leaving, the kids are going through the halls, you still hear them asking more questions and talking to each other. They're coming back to their teammates. They're coming back to like their cousins and their family members who are in the school. And I think it's almost like that kind of like oral tradition of sharing the stories and learning from each other in that way, where we don't have a big school-wide assembly or presentation or anything, but they are the bearers of this banner in sharing their experience. And I think all of them have been so moved that they are telling those stories. But if you have ideas or want something to be kind of put out there more, we could talk it over. And you've heard some of these kids, they had a positive experience and would love to talk about it. I had to fight Mira to come up here, so I will turn it over to her so that she can share as well.
As Mr. McCallis already said, orally is our main method, but we also have an Akron Interact Club social media page, as well as we are posted sometimes on Ladies Lions and Interact, which is things that the community can see. And we have a Just Build It, which is what this is mainly with, Instagram page where the younger generations can be like, that is so cool, let's go do that. But what I've been doing is anybody younger than me, anybody that's able to go on the trip, I've been telling about my experience. And if they're like, should I join? Kids that are going into high school, kids who are already in high school, I'm trying to tell as many people as I can, do these opportunities. They truly make a difference. And again, many of these people up here have done this through word of mouth and through social media. And that's our two main communication methods to get this out there. And anybody watching, please decide to join and do it. Join Interact. Go follow. Go follow us.
Well, the only comment I'd like to make is that, first off, I want to thank Ms. Stone and Ms. Buckley, because you guys are essentially, you've been with the program the entire time, and you guys are the pebble that's been cast into the water, and these are your ripples. And what those ripples do is they get bigger, they impact more of the surrounding and the people that are around them, and that's what we've seen, not only in this group, but in previous groups. And speaking, for my own son that went several years ago, it is something that's life-changing. It's a great opportunity to see how, to Mr. McHale's point, an individual can do amazing things. They're only limited by their own restrictions. So to go out there and see you guys challenged the language barrier, all those sorts of things, but you make it work. And I think that you finding that commonality is what is so critical. So if anything, the only thing I would say is to challenge you is not only sharing what your experiences were, but to see what things you learned through this experience that you can bring home. And I think this was a little bit to Ms. Shigello's point, was what can you guys bring back to the students here in our district or in our greater community in the Buffalo, Western New York, how else can you make a similar or an impact here that you made down there, or that connection? And those are the sorts of things that I would challenge you as this experience. What can you do to make those connections with those people within your building, within your community, within your state? What can you do to make those better? And those are when you start to really feel the impact and the ripples that I think this interaction is all about. So, but good job. I appreciate that the organizations that support this. So please pass that along to the organizations. It's always a great thing to see the entire community come together to build this and have an impact not only here, but on our students and there. So thank you.
So before you leave, we would love to take a family photo. So if we could line up over here with our board members.
I always leave somebody off. I had to move around. I get it. Too many heads. I don't notice till afterwards.
It's got a huge congregation.
What's up? Oh. Actually, it was Phil for sure. I saw block the first time. So I moved over.
That's a good point. All right. Moving on then, our presentations, 2026-27 budget, instructional programming, and interscholastic sports.
Yep, and I'm going to ask all of our buildings to come up together. And we're going to run through all three of the buildings plus curriculum and instruction. And then we will open it up for questions for that group. So many of our programs overlap and are interconnected that made sense for us to present it this way as a group. And then we'll transition to athletics, technology. I think that's everybody. So it became a little bit of a graphics war in this in this presentation, which I enjoy.
I think the elementary is first, so we will start with our little tiger, wherever he is. We'll just admire Anthony's little tiger here, and he's going to start for us on our process.
So we start off our process by meeting at our November faculty meeting, and during that faculty meeting, we give teachers like the timeline for the budget and communicate with them kind of some benchmark opportunities, and then we ask them to go back to their grade level teams and discuss what their needs might be and budgetary requests might be going forward into the next year. Same thing that we would do with special area teachers and different teams around the building. Then the second step, November and December, all of our staff submit a budget survey. So there's a link that's attached to ours to a Google form, and that Google form has different software requests that they might have, professional development, supplies, field trip requests that they want to make. They get to go on there. Every individual staff member gets to submit that survey to us. And then we take that information, we review it, organize it for ourselves to condense down. And then we move to step 3, which is November and December. We meet with all the grade levels and special area teachers and different teams around our building to review the requests that we've organized, ask them questions, ask them for some feedback. And to be honest with you, being my first year as a building principal, the best part I think about the whole process is it's extremely collaborative. Every single person in our building got to give us some feedback, got to give us some requests and explain those requests to us. So just the idea that everybody got to have their hands in on this process building the budget for me was eye-opening and just a really awesome opportunity to get to see it across the district.
Just to highlight, we did reallocate the funds a little bit. So if you see some lines that are zeroed out, we moved a lot to the elementary supply line, and that's what I will highlight tonight. We also moved some to Danielle's textbook lines, which I'm sure she'll talk about later. But we did try to consolidate just so that everything was in the elementary supply line. So we are trying to, I know we've talked about in years past, we're continuously trying to create environments that are inclusive, hands-on. If you walk into any elementary classroom, you'll see that there's a lot of flexible seating options. We want to continue to try to offer that to our students because we are seeing the success of that, and also offer a lot of hands-on manipulative learning experiences. So there was an increase of $1,500 in our supply line to contribute to those flexible seating options. Also, we are next year trying to offer more STEAM opportunities for our students. This came out of the strategic plan process where we were talking to our students through our principal advisory council. A lot of our students have asked for more art opportunities, more hands-on science opportunities. So we want to try to offer more STEAM activities and assemblies for our students next year. So the bulk of the increase in the supply line was from a $3,000 increase that we are hoping to use for more STEAM materials for next year. Something that Anthony and I are really excited about, it's a project that we've been working on with our shared decision-making team and our principal advisory council with our students, is something similar to what's happening in the middle school, so we cannot take credit for it. Something that Joey and John are doing really well is monthly character recognition. We want to enhance our character recognition, but we want it to be a process that our students are involved in. So with our shared decision-making team, we had our teachers and parents that are involved in that process come up with 22 character traits that they felt strongly about, and then I'll have Anthony talk about the student side.
So we took those 22 words that our shared decision-making committee came up with, we brought it to our principal's advisory council, and we basically explained to those students that we need your help now. We want you to identify some character words that you think we haven't picked yet. If you come up with any of those, add to the list, and then we ask them to narrow it down to 15 from there by polling them. So now we're going to take those 15 words that our principal's advisory council has come up with. We're going to put it out to the community, put it out to students, teachers, and everyone across Akron's district, and allow them to kind of narrow us down to the final 10 that will represent the 10 character words for the school year, one for each month of the school year next year.
We're excited about that because it's the collective elementary process of what an Akron elementary tiger looks like. And when we asked our students what we wanted a tiger to look like, they had some great ideas of character traits. So we're excited to offer that, and we're excited to eventually have our kids come and present that to you, hopefully by the end of the year or next year. We also, you'll see some increases or just some reallocation of funds for play-based resources. We've done a lot in our UPK program in collaboration with Danielle to make our program more play-based and also offer some more SEL, social emotional training for our kindergarten team and our UPK team. We did a great training on March 13th with a program called Petals, and we are hoping to enhance that over not only UPK, but in our kindergarten program next year as well. In our specials, some of the requests include a Gaga pit, some new golf materials for the program called First Tee that our PE teachers are hoping to be able to purchase, and then hopefully be able to work towards getting bicycles that we're able to be able to teach some of our younger students how to ride a bike. That's something that we're hoping to be able to offer in the future as a progressive process over years' time. Our music teacher has never asked for replacement cycle of instruments except for those lovely recorders that I know you all parents love so much. Those are not reused, but the instrument cycle we've started to do already, and we would like to continue that. One other thing that we would just like to highlight, I know Paul will talk about it when he talks about personnel, is our drama club. I know you've heard us talk about it this year. We had 53 students participate in grades 3 through 5. The students are absolutely loving it. The performance will be April 22nd, and we have requested a position for a drama club advisor for the future. This year was a parent volunteer who's done an incredible job, and we'd like to be able to offer that in the future for our kids, because we've seen how excited they are and the impact that it has had. And we actually got to practice our parts in the play today, and just the excitement that they have is awesome. So we'd like to be able to offer that. Lastly, we just want to thank the board. I know you've heard us talk about how proud we are of our academic success that we've had in our ELA and math assessments. We want to highlight, like, one great highlight that we had was our 5th grade was #1 in Erie 1 BOCES in both ELA and math. That is a huge celebration that we have this year, and we just want to continue to thank the board for your support of our academic program. We're still very proud of our literacy program, and of course the science program as well. We've continued to have districts come out again this year to see our literacy program. So I know you hear us talk about it a lot, but we're still really proud because we see the impact that it has on the state assessments and the day-to-day assessments that our students are performing so well at. So we just want to thank the board for your support, and that's all for the elementary. Any questions? Okay.
Good evening. On behalf of Akron Middle School, our budget calendar is similar. We actually start planning for a budget in September. We communicate with our stakeholders. We get feedback, and it's a long process. Our budget this year, we pride ourselves on having a very conservative budget in the middle school. We've always had a conservative budget. We don't ask for something unless we need it. Our budget this year essentially will go up. You'll notice home and careers, the last few years, it's been a zero budget line. This year, we're asking for $6,500. The intent is, listening to the feedback from the strategic plan, specifically strategic plan goal number 3, kids ask for home and career. They want those life skills. So our plan is we're going to change our specials. For the last 10 years, kids have gotten different specials in different grades. So for example, in 8th grade, I take CDE or technology. In 7th grade, I take 8th. This year, coming up, we're going to do a special wheel. So 6th, 7th, and 8th graders will get 10 weeks of art, 10 weeks of home and careers, 10 weeks of, I'm drawing a blank, health, yes, yep, health as well. So we're going to do a wheel, so we'll rotate every 10 weeks. So it's not just one grade specific. That'll do a few things. It gives kids more opportunity to more, whether you want to call them electives or specials, and it also helps keep things fresh. So that being said, we're asking for $6,500 to buy supplies for home and careers or facts. The other thing we're going to try to do is build some personal finance into it. Part of whether you call it home and careers or family and consumer science, you have to understand a budget. You have to understand a personal budget. As you get older, you have to buy groceries, you have to have insurance, you need this and that. You have to understand how to budget. And I think we as an institution need to do a better job of teaching kids how to budget. So that's one of our goals. Our technology budget will be reduced by $1,200. Not in my budget, but in Ms. Hawkins' budget, we're asking for web training. Web is a character education program where everyone belongs. Essentially, it's a program that Mr. Cena used at DePue. It allows 8th graders to mentor the incoming 6th graders. And speaking with Mr. Cena, he said it's worked great for them, so we would like to try it at Akron. Also, K through 8 literacy. This is not a financial increase to the district, but we want to align our literacy program at the middle school to fit what the elementary is doing. There will be some differences, but it's a program change, the K through 8 literacy alignment. And also, like Mrs. Koss said, we've done very well on state assessments for multiple years in a row. We've been #1 in different subjects, and we're very proud of that. But we want to say thank you to you as the Board of Education, because without your support, that's not possible. And most importantly, we want to thank both our teachers and our students for doing so well. Questions?
I just want to say thank you to both you and the high school, and actually the elementary schools working together too on that work with the master schedule. I know it's been an incredibly heavy lift, and I know it's been a goal for quite some time now to be able to give students those elective opportunities in multiple grade levels. So just wanted to say thank you to you and your team for all the work that you've done on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. So at the high school, we did things a little bit different this year. We have a new scheduling process. So we have our counselor was in charge of the master schedule. So instead of creating just budget meetings to start the year, we actually combined our scheduling and budget meetings into one, and we had our counselor in each of those meetings. So every department member came to those meetings and had a voice as to what their needs were, both academically as well as through supplies that they would need. And also, what are some electives they were thinking about possibly teaching for the next year. So what that does for our counselor is it gives her an opportunity to, in the back of her mind, know what are some of the electives that she's going to have to figure out how they're going to manipulate themselves within the schedule based on what we have so far. And also it helps me know what types of things I'm going to need budgetary for PD and for supplies that they may need. So really inclusive and transparent this year. Every teacher in the building had an option, an opportunity to voice about what they were interested in doing and what are some electives that they were thinking about doing. So that took about 2 months, and overall, you've heard up to this point 3 new electives that we are going to offer next year based on our strategic plan, where we want creativity and flexibility and belonging in our academic programs. So those are the mindsets that our teachers went back to the departments and came up with some great new electives. Also through our principal advisory committee, and we asked Paul to add a line for our debate club, because that was one of the big overarching themes that our kids really want is a debate club. So we don't have an advisor at this point, but that's something that we're really going to push for our staff to have available for our students next year, because that's something that our students and the principal advisory council really, really want. So we're going to do our best to make that work. Overall, it was really a needs-based budget, and we were down almost $50,000 in the high school to really be fiscally responsible and just get what we need for our students. So the only increases that are there are really music department fees for festivals, because you have so many great musicians that are going on to a county and state competitions. So we had to increase those lines, which is a great thing. The replacement cycle for music instruments is still going to continue as well. And we also, our technology, we added obviously our food science courses that we have to increase our technology line for to buy food supplies and some other things that she'll need for her courses. So overall, a really fiscally responsible budget, and I do want to thank Andrea and the board for your support. And I think next year kids are really going to see their schedule packed with great things, and they're going to have a great opportunity to have electives that they haven't had before. So I think we're really going to be proud of that.
So the majority of that decrease is, last year, as the board recalls, we had a baby grand piano that was part of the budget, as well as we've dedicated quite a few resources and one-time expenditures to that instrument replacement cycle. So that cycle is continuing with, I believe it's $25,000
Correct.
that is
Yep.
going towards instrument replacement this year.
Any questions? All right, go Tigers.
Curriculum is next. It's me.
So just some highlights for this year. We were very excited through the curriculum budget that we were able to support our strategic planning goals as well as some New York State Inspire specific initiatives, including project-based learning, the New York State Inspires PLC that was offered through BOCES, offering some new electives this year. You heard about some great things we have on tap even for next year too, so that's something that continues to grow. One thing that I was excited to be able to support through our budget was sending Megan Brown, our new FACS teacher, to the Farm to School conference this February. And then some things that we're supporting our strategic plan and that our coaches worked hard on, like our Centennial Week that just took place a few weeks back. Community partnerships, our upcoming Day of Caring that you'll hear a little bit more about in my update, One Book, One District. So those are some of our initiatives. We also were able to continue our district commitment to therapeutic crisis intervention in schools. The vision is that we will have all of our teachers and support staff trained in the next 5 years. We were able to add 2 new cohorts this year, so that was exciting. And we continue to support our district initiatives around science of reading with letters training and Orton Gillingham trainings. My budget development process is very similar to the ones you've heard from the buildings. I really try to be very collaborative with them, listen to their needs and kind of shape things around them. So you'll see a very similar timeline there. One thing that I don't think they mentioned that is pretty important in the curriculum office and also in the tech office are meetings with Erie One BOCES to talk about planning for next year. What is PD going to look like? What is technology purchasing going to look like? Software, those types of things also fit in there. This is just a slide as a couple of reminders of some of the things that are baked within the curriculum budget. So professional development, any projects that teachers do, especially over the summer, if they come in and work on their curriculum or receive professional development, that's part of our office's budget. Conferences, materials and supplies for professional development, textbooks and software, student health services, BOCES services, at least the ones listed there. There are other BOCES services that don't fall under this umbrella. And then we are continuing to support work with some consultants, literacy, indigenous perspectives, and school culture. So in the budget, you will see a little bit of an increase for one of our consultants that I just mentioned. So we work closely with a literacy consultant named Stacey Pelicano. She's phenomenal. We are very hopeful to expand the work that she does both in the middle school and find some more time for her to work with our elementary students. To offset that cost, we actually cut a little bit back in our BOCES ELA support. So it's a little bit of an increase. You'll see it in there, but we did try to reduce in some other areas to make room for that. We also decreased a little bit in our PD for science of reading, which you'll see. So to support a strong presence this year at the National Indian Education Association's annual convention and trade show, our Indigenous staff is very excited to share that will be in Buffalo this year. So we are planning financially for a healthy, strong presence there, both with our administrators and our Indigenous staff, but not all of us go to that every year, but with it being in Buffalo, we want to make sure that we can make that happen for anyone who wants to take part in that. You will see a one-time expense, which Mr. Capio did mention, which is PD for a middle school mentoring program that is web. We are very excited about the possibility of bringing that to the middle school. And then some other items that are a little bit not as in our control. So we pay for, if students elect to go to a parochial school, our district does pay money for them to have health services, to have like a nurse in that parochial school. Those continue to go up. What we budgeted this year was not enough to cover what we spent this year, and the bills are still rolling in. So that is increased just to what we spent this year, and I do believe that may even go up next year. Foster care tuition was higher than was budgeted as well. We do have occasionally students who are in foster care, and we pay tuition for them to attend other schools locally. That's kind of just a regulation. And then mental health tutoring continues to be more and more expensive to the district. So some things that we're excited to expand programming, and then some things that we don't have a ton of control over, you'll see reflected in the budget. As I mentioned, we would like to continue our support for New York State Inspires transition, including project-based learning and new pathways. A lot of PD will come with that for our teachers at all 3 levels, and our strategic planning priorities, which you've heard a ton about from my colleagues. Lastly, we'd also like to expand PD and coaching opportunities in behavioral support and special education through BOCES. We are very excited to welcome a couple of our providers that we have had a lot of great success with, that have made great connections with our teachers in for a bigger chunk of the year. Next year, we will have Trisha Fay, who does our therapeutic crisis intervention, for an expanded role with us next year, as well as Stephanie Fabini, who does like co-teaching coaching. So we're very excited about those initiatives as well. Any questions?
Does anyone have any questions or feedback for the buildings and curriculum? I just want to take a moment and say thank you so much for being collaborative and for aligning priorities to our strategic plan. Like, from my chair, I could not be prouder or more appreciative of the work that you're doing in your buildings and in your departments. And I have great things to say about technology and athletics too, but while everybody is standing up there, but just thank you so much for all that you do for our students each and every day, and for this process to provide them with great opportunities. All right, you can probably sit if you want to. I think technology is up.
Oh, okay.
You guys don't have to keep standing. I mean, you guys can continue to stand if you want. Okay.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much. I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the technology department budget process for the 26-27 school year. Well, Adam and I are not necessarily new to the budget process. This was the first time that we had an opportunity to be directly involved. So we took it as a learning opportunity to work with others and collaborate among the different buildings to see where we can make adjustments or what things might need to be moved around. And I really appreciated that opportunity. That was a great experience. So our budget process mirrors the other buildings and departments as well, as far as the planning and the different months. In November, we started the budget discussions with everyone. We reviewed our existing budget and focused on long-term goals, and also obtained feedback from our district technology committee, which was a very important part of the process. In December, we were finalizing the New York State technology plan, which has been approved for the years 2026 through 2029. And we also participated with meetings with vendors and obtained Chromebook quotes for our Smart Schools Bond Act, which will be coming up very soon. In January and February, continued some of this process. We reviewed existing software, made adjustments based on enrollment numbers that were projected for next school year. So a lot of software licenses were reduced or changed to reflect the numbers in each specific grade level. A continuation of some of the 2025-26 highlights, we replaced Chromebooks in grades 1, 5, and 9. We moved our virtual server infrastructure from VMware to Microsoft Hyper-V, which is a free solution that's already included with some of our licensing. That resulted in a $20,000 savings to the district. We were really proud of that, to share that with everyone. As part of our capital project, they installed new fiber optic cabling to all of the data closets throughout the school. So our team has been working really hard to patch all of that in and make use of the newer technology and updated materials that have been provided to us. And we've also taken an opportunity to look at where we can improve. And as part of that, one of the things we realize is that we have some opportunities to purchase different software that can streamline things and make the experience a lot easier for our teachers and administrators, as well as our staff members. So we purchased additional modules for Incident IQ ticketing system that we already have. And this will allow us to integrate building calendars and work orders and things all into one program, which we feel will be a nice addition to the software that we use currently. We continue to focus on safety and security as part of that. We completed a New York State data security review this year in December, which we talked about. We are going to continue applying multi-factor authentication to as many programs as possible to protect security and continue on the practice of protecting personally identifiable information. We have implemented Windows Defender monitoring, so anytime something happens to any of our workstations or desktops in the district, we're immediately getting email notifications identifying the problem and the location, allowing us to isolate that equipment. That has happened already this school year, and we're really happy that we have that solution in place. And we also plan to continue implementing a new software program for our cameras, which we talked about a little bit a couple months ago, which I believe will be much better for our administrators. In 2026 and 2027, we're going to take some time to continue to review state contracts that the Office of General Services has provided and listed to possibly open the door for reduced expenses with some new vendors that we may not currently be working with. We're going to continue replacing batteries in a lot of our UPS equipment and access control systems throughout the district. A lot of those batteries are approaching 4 or 5 years old right now, so we feel like the proactive measure to reduce downtime is wise. We do plan to roll out Parent Square, which will replace our Remind app that is a direct teacher to parent communication tool. And that's simply just because Remind is sunsetting at the end of this school year. We no longer have an opportunity to use that program. We will continue to support our esports program. The teachers and the advisors of that club have advised us that they have great student participation, so anytime we can purchase additional controllers or software for that program, we will certainly do so. We hired an additional tech as part of a retirement this year. The employee started in January. And as a result, we are going to reduce a .2 Erie 1 BOCES technician and apply those funds from that position to the BOCES communication service. We also plan on rolling out an fax solution, a cloud solution that's been proposed to us. It's available through Erie 1 BOCES that removes the need for traditional fax machines. We will still have the same equipment, but it's a cloud-based solution that may even allow us to reduce our footprint of traditional phone lines. And then additional building cameras as needed and possible replacement of a theatrical camera in the auditorium that's used for our musicals. Oh, I went too far. Sorry. There was on the expenditure sheet that was listed, or the slide rather, there were some adjustments that you'll see there. One of them was a reduction in the frontline time and attendance is a $10,000 amount, and then the $15,000 reduction reflected some AI tools that have already been purchased for this school year, so we no longer have the need for that. Any questions?
Mike, before you sit down, I just want to thank you, Adam. Just incredibly appreciative of, I know this has been a new role for you, and just stepping up in the leadership has been beyond appreciative. Mike is incredibly responsive and is there day and night for us, literally. So I just appreciate you very much and all that you've brought to the department.
Thank you.
I see athletics took the loss in the graphics department tonight.
I thought yours were really good on your own.
Last year, I do want to, thank Superintendent Taylor and both Principal Dimitroff and Gabriel for had both of the guys have been doing this job before, and Paul for helping me with the budget. Last year as the rookie athletic director, every coach in Akron District said they needed uniforms. But, not only was I getting to know our student athletes and our coaches, but getting to know the equipment, the condition of our equipment. in our district. And, one thing I learned even over the short 2 years I've been here, it's always something with athletics that comes up that is sometimes, unexpected. It's not in the budget. Last year it was, I think it was the shot clocks. And then I just got an email today that New York State changed. You might have heard about that, Mr. Bukowski, about the backstroke pads that now have got to go on there, and they're $200 a piece. So it seems to be always something, but our budget relatively stayed the same. We did increase it a little bit in the travel department to cover the expenses of the regional and the states, and we continue to have teams to reach that level. Athletic equipment, it did increase to $3,000 for a treadmill. We had one budgeted for this year. That is one thing about our fitness equipment. Some of our fitness equipment in the future will be taking an inventory of some of the stuff that's in there that has been in there for a very long time. And so just since I've been here last year, we bought one, but the treadmills, they go for at least $8,000, to buy one that really is where we need to be putting a standard, because not only of our athletes are using these equipment inside the fitness center, our staff is using it, and our community is using it as well inside there. So we were able this year to buy brand new uniforms for our modified girls basketball team. We just bought uniforms. They'll put them on tomorrow night for the first time for the combined team of Akron, Alden, and flag football. And field hockey will have brand new uniforms for next year. So we are looking at purchasing a pitching machine for both softball and baseball next year. And I'm trying to think what else we had included. But this year, today we had some brand new chairs. They're sharp, aren't they, Mr. Cabrio? For our basketball, volleyball, unified basketball, they just came in today. They got our new logo, our new Akron Tiger logo, and it padded on the seats. They did a great job with it. Justin Gerston designed the design of those. And then obviously is just we kind of go through the budget and looked ahead as we have the new the new stadium being built and seeing, what is included in the capital project and what isn't. Our district's done a great job of kind of meshing the distance between what we have and what we need to have, especially when it comes to track and the new track stadium that we're going to have there. Any questions?
Once again, I just want to say thank you. Athletics is definitely not an easy position, and you are very much appreciated. It means a lot to our kids. We have a great number of students that are involved in athletics, and I just appreciate your leadership in that area.
I did want to say one more thing, and this is probably a mistake of myself. We did have a gentleman, Mike Masters. He cross-training athletics, and it's a character-based program where the theme is that they're training the athlete from the inside out. He did have an opportunity to work with our football team this year. It's not an additional. It wasn't an increase in our budget. We simply had it there, and athletics, to my fault, was not using it in the way it was. So we'll be one of 4 schools in Western New York that will have the opportunity to bring him on campus, not only for the fall, but for all 3 seasons. And so we'll have a character student athlete of the week. And, that's one of the great things that they were talking about. The elementary school, I know the middle school and high school does it well, but it's a great job where you get to highlight, somebody, caught doing something good. And I think it inspires other student athletes. So we'll have Mike on campus for all three of our seasons and every single one of our sports next year. So we're excited for that.
Once again, thank you to all of you. What you presented in probably 20 minutes here is the result of hours and hours and days of work. So just thank you very much for the thorough job you do in this process.
Any questions amongst the board?
That means you did a great job presenting.
If we do have any questions, we will let you know. With that, then, we are at the end of presentations, and next item is hearing of individuals and delegations. We do not have any individuals for that, so moving along to agenda item number 7. Now that you've all sat down, administrative team updates.
You know, if we could we actually, wait, could we actually have Mrs. Hawkins go first? Because I know Jordan is not feeling well back there, and he had to come with Mom to present tonight, just to get them out a little bit earlier. Hi, boys.
They're having a great time back there. Thank you. I wanted to share a few updates. We have some exciting things. You kind of heard some previews in the budget chat. We have been really working and reflecting on some feedback that we received during the strategic planning process last year, that the community, students, parents really are very interested in seeing some sort of agricultural education component come to Akron. So we've done a bunch of research. We've looked into FFA. We've looked into some other opportunities. And then I feel like from the heavens, Megan Brown kind of fell into our lap, and we ended up with somebody certified in culinary careers, which was exciting, and somebody who's very interested in moving similar work to that forward. So now we have a partner that we're kind of working with. I recently also learned that Rebecca Lober, who is our 6th grade science teacher, is also very interested in that type of education. She's thinking about possibly talking to Mr. Capro about a new elective offered at the middle school that has to do with agriculture. So the pairing between the two and working together, I think we could really be on the precipice of doing some really neat things for kids. So both of those ladies are going to be joining me this spring. We're going to be visiting East Aurora and Roy Hart schools, who both have healthy agricultural educational programs, very different from one another. My understanding is that Roy Hart is a very strict, like, FFA program versus East Aurora, who kind of built their own around their community needs and feedback they had. So we're just very excited to go out and check out both and see what they're bringing to their students and what we can beg, borrow, and steal, or what ideas it may spark for something different but equally wonderful for our own kids. So we're excited about that. I wanted to share some progress that's been made by way of a climate survey. So we have been working on that. We've went through a few drafts of it, and I think we're at a point where we are ready to roll out a climate survey this year to our students, our parents, our instructional staff, and our non-instructional staff. Our goal is to start getting those out to those 4 groups the week after spring break. So if you are a district parent, look for that in your email. But we're excited to hopefully have some disaggregated data and some further information to help us shape our work as we move forward into next year with that. But I know that was a strong interest of the board, so know that we are working on that. Lastly, I just want to celebrate some work of our instructional coaches. I kind of mentioned this, we had our 100-day, 100-year celebration. It was really exciting to see. We threw a big birthday party for this building, and everybody got to participate. There was cupcakes, there was ice cream treats, there were birthday hats, there were special shirts. It was a really fun week, and we got to share a little bit about what life was like in the 1925, 1926 school year with our students. So that was really cool. That was strongly in support of our goal 2, building community and connection, but also really also our goal 1, which is a connection with our outside Akron community. We are in the throes of deep planning for our Akron district-wide Day of Caring on May 22nd, which is a day where all of our students will participate in some sort of activity that gives back to our Akron community. So lots more to come on that, but that's been a big project for our Goal 1 coach, Bernadette Chunko. She's done a ton of work on that, so I'm excited to see how that rolls out. And lastly, I just wanted to celebrate our successful Day of Learning on March 13th that we had. We were able to do a district-wide vertical vocab activity, and then teams worked on collaboration priorities that they had set up with their principals, and a lot of wonderful work was done on that day. Any questions?
Just a comment. So in regards to the climate survey, just know that we will be sending out a parent communication prior to administering that survey, as well as the complete copy of the surveys will be available on our website for any parent who would like to view them in advance.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Feel better, Jordan.
I just have a few updates. First, March was Music in Schools Month, and if you saw the cabaret concert or Music and Munchies, everyone did a great job, the kids, the teachers, and that takes a ton of work. Custodial staff setting things up, so I want to say thank you, and great job by all. And if you saw the musical, Austin's going to talk a little bit about this, but you did a great job. I was really impressed with that, so that was cool, so excellent job. One thing I have is April 4th, we have our grade 6 Greek Olympic Day. The kids dress up like they're from ancient Greece. They compete against each other. Then we have an award ceremony. Then, of course, we have spring break. And after break, it'll be here like that. We have the ELA state assessments. And then a week and a half after that, we have the math assessments. Then another week after that, the grade 8 science state assessments. So we're going to blink. The school year is going to be done. But we come back from break again. We start the ELA assessments, and it's coming very quickly. Any questions? Thank you.
I'm always too tall for this thing. In the high school, also, I know Joe just talked about it, but the musical was awesome. Austin, you did a great job. I don't know how you remembered so many lines. It was incredible, but it's cool to see the middle school and high school, work on it together, and then the whole school really come together to watch it. And then Cabaret was this past weekend, and for me, that was a new experience. It's really cool to see how well-rounded our students are. I mean, you got students that are in different clubs and sports, and pretty much like almost all of the high school has some role in Cabaret. It was phenomenal. It was great to see a lot of the families support it. It felt like there wasn't any other room in the cafeteria in the gym one left. Like it was just a packed house. So it's cool to see the community come together and celebrate the hard work that all the kids put in. Next week, we have our Wellness Day on April 2nd. The students have begun to sign up for the activities they want to do this week. I know earlier when we were talking about the Dominican trip, Mr. McHale talked about connection, the kids talked about connection, and to me, like, this is a great day for connections to be made between staff and students. It's not just teachers, there's other staff members running sessions too. So for kids to kind of just have a break from, your typical day and be able to do some fun events and activities. So we're all looking forward to that. Today specifically, our sophomores went out into our reverse career day. So they got to, visit local businesses and just see more of what's out there. A lot of kids in high school seem to have it all figured out. But when you go into a lot of these jobs, you realize there's so many more roles and so many more opportunities in these businesses. So for them to get that exposure and, get to work with the community and see what's out there was a really good experience. I got a lot of good feedback from the kids as they were coming back from that. And the last update I have is we have Regents Review classes underway. Some have started, most begin like right after break. So, the schedule's on the website as well for anyone that's interested in that. So.
Just to follow line with the Regents Review, we have a little bit different setup this year for Regents exams. So typically we have our last day of school and then Regents week or week and a half. This year they're administering 2 new Regents exams, ELA and Algebra 2, prior to the end of school. So June 9th is going to be ELA and Algebra 2 is going to be on June 10th. June 9th is going to be a day, and I want to thank Ms. Kirchner and Ms. Taylor and the board for allowing us to do this, but we are going to just have students that are taking the ELA exam be required to go to school that day. It's going to take a lot of manpower because of a lot of different settings that we need for that ELA exam. So we'll have our students in the gym as well as probably 8 to 10 rooms around the building to administer that exam in the morning. With that being said, there are some departments that are going to be involved in some PD during that day as well, and we're still working on some of the logistics of how that's going to go on, whether we have Regents Review for some kids or some other activities for students who want to come in, but it will only be a day where students taking the ELA exam will be required to come to school. So I want to appreciate the board for being flexible with that. So that's down the road, but it's coming quick. All right, any questions on that? All right, go Tigers.
This week is Career Exploration Week in the elementary. So today was kids dressed like the teachers and teachers dressed like the kids. And Friday, the kids get to dress up like what they want to be when they grow up. So it's always a fun day on Friday. Audrey did a read aloud. I know she'll talk about it later on, that highlighted lots of different careers, and just kids are learning about all different careers and excited to talk about what they're doing. We want to thank Tracy Martin, our counselor, who organizes that week. As Joe said, state assessments are coming quickly after break, April 21st and 22nd. And then on April 2nd, something new that we're trying this month, we have a golden lunch table that we've set up on the stage of the elementary cafeteria to promote good behavior in the cafeteria. So all month long, our students have been working on being kind and respectful, listening to the monitors, staying in their seats, and cleaning up after themselves. And when they do that, they get a star or 2 stars. The students that are the classes at each grade level that get the most stars will get to eat at the golden lunch table. There's crowns at the table, and they will be served by Anthony and I at the VIP lunch. So that will happen. So there's a winner. Yes, we're practicing. There's a winner at each grade level. Each class has a winner, and whoever has the most stars. They're all working really hard, though. They're super motivated by it. It's been a lot of fun, and we're excited to be able to have our first VIP lunch on Thursday, April 2nd.
Just a shout out Miss Best one more time when she's here. We have been doing our Tiger Times. They're going to be releasing their 3rd issue of the school year with our student journalists. They've been doing a phenomenal job of interviewing. They've expanded now outside of our originally made interview questions into some deeper questions, and have gotten a little bit more into the comfort zone with the teachers they're interviewing with to ask expanded questions after their first one. So the next Tiger Times released issue, I'm sure, will be even better than the first 2, and it'll continue to progress. But thank you to Claudia and Todd for being our student advisors for that. They've been doing a great job. Our PTA book fair is coming up on April 28th through the 30th in the NPR. It'll be a BOGO sale, so buy one, get one, and a perfect for stocking up for the summer. But thank you to our PTA volunteers. We have tons of family members that volunteer, but that includes Christina Sanner and Melissa Garverick. I always say her name wrong during our videos. I'm like the main Follies person for the videos. But they do a great job getting it organized, requesting the space, and getting everything set up. So just thank you to them for all that hard work. And finally, our drama club will present 2 performances for our 3rd through 5th grade students. So they'll get to show their classmates all their hard work and efforts. And if you want to come out and join us on April 23rd at 6 p.m. in the auditorium, you'll be able to enjoy Alice in Wonderland and The Wizard of Oz. We hope to see you guys there.
Good evening, everybody. Our departments are just staying busy with the hopefully turn in the weather. Headed into spring would be wonderful. Maintenance department is, now that the weather is getting a little bit better, they are moving up onto the roof, continuing. We have an endless list of projects of things that need to be completed outside the building, so we can finally get back to some of those while also taking care of everything on the inside. So plenty to do in that department. We're also monitoring utility costs. If you think about all the utility bills you have at home and then scale that to the campus size that we have, it's definitely a crazy time every time those bills come in. So coupled with that, we're also monitoring fuel prices in the transportation department, because that also is another ridiculous number from time to time. So just keeping an eye on that. Just gearing up for spring sports season, field trips, getting through the day sometimes, but all the departments are doing well. We're functioning. We're getting things done. Sometimes we wonder how, but it's all happening and it's all getting done. So, any questions for me? We have been working, Mrs. Taylor and I, along with Mr. Morello. We are tackling the varsity baseball, softball. So we're putting together a plan. Our first game is on Monday, but there is, with the capital project, no parking down there, so we will have a shuttle bus that will be used to kind of shuttle people from the elementary and middle school lot, so we can make sure that we can get the spectators to the games and in a safe way. So, any questions?
Akron PD is also
And Akron,
collaborating with us on supporting that as well, but I know that that's been a lot of planning, Mr. Morello as well, Mr. Alexander, so thank you for all of your work and making sure that that's safe for our spectators.
Absolutely. All right, thank you.
as Mark said, the spring sports started March 9th, and although we've been indoors a lot, lacrosse has not. So lacrosse has started out with a great start, won in overtime last Friday night, 14-13 against Iroquois, and then won again last night, 16-6 against Gowanda. They're the only team has competed so far. And then tomorrow night, lacrosse is at Tonawanda, and our flag football team is playing against Iroquois at Alden tomorrow night. Is their first game. And then Friday night, our flag football team is going to have an opportunity to play in a flag football tournament at the Bills indoor facility on Friday night. So a lot of, you would think with 3 gyms it would be enough space. 4 gyms, I'm sorry. But I do appreciate our coaches, understanding that not everybody gets to practice immediately after school. Some have to practice at 5:30 and take the late shift. But we try to be equitable and do as good a job as we can to rotate that. And it is a wait and see what the weather does type of day every day here. Sometimes you plan inside and, everybody wants to get outside, but that doesn't happen on every day, but we know we have to be flexible. And just to give an update on 2 of our sports, to be transparent, our softball program does have lower number this year, but we are going to be able to persevere and have a varsity and a JV. We might just have to limit our games because a lot of our girls are going to be playing on both sides. And so, the eligibility rules, the seniors and juniors cannot play down on the JV level, but a lot of our JV girls will be able to play up and play on the varsity. They're just not going to be able to play on the same day. And all of our games, the Niagara League, NO League ADs and coaches are being hospitable to us, and they're changing the dates and allow us to do that so we can allow our younger girls to play and maintain the 20 game maximum. So we're going to walk that tightrope, but we're going to provide an opportunity for both our younger players and older players to play, and they're both going to play a lot this year. So, and then as we move forward with the transition from JV to modified, we are in some talks with some coaches that have previously coached last year, possibly interested in coming back and coaching our modified team next year. Waiting to get back with Coach Meets and see where he's at. And then obviously we still have the open position for our varsity position, which is very much, as far as I'm concerned, as the athletic director, a priority to try to get hired. And so we'll keep on advertising that position because we want that hired as, the sooner we can have that position filled, the better for not just for the coach and his staff, but most importantly for our student athletes. We want to get that position filled as much as possible. So after the spring break, it will ramp up. Mark just mentioned softball, weather permitting. Monday will be our first home game, and there's a little bit of low, but as soon as I told Superintendent Taylor today, as soon as it comes back for spring break, there's 6 weeks in a row where we host a game every single day for 6 weeks straight. So we know how the weather is in the spring, but we're looking forward to getting all our spring sports out there and competing at the same time. Any questions? Go Tigers.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Of course.
I just wanted to take a minute to let everyone know that we will be meeting with a representative from Verizon on April 9th during Easter break. This is something Mr. Kowalski teamed us up with. This vendor's been trying to reach us and get out here since early in fall, and we're taking the time during the Easter break because there are no students here, and it'll give us an opportunity to just make our way around campus and see what solutions they're proposing. This is a small cell project. It's not a region-wide thing that will benefit the town or anything. It is just an on-campus solution that they're proposing to do something out towards athletics, transportation, and here on campus.
Thank you, everybody.
Very well. Our student ex officio reports.
So I'll just touch on a couple quick things. As Mrs. Koss already mentioned, this week is Career Exploration Week in the elementary school. I did read a lot of this and I thought was really fun. It was clothesline clues to jobs people do. Mr. Buno said it's a tongue twister. We had a hard time with that in the introduction of it. But it was kind of like a guessing game. I would read a couple like clues about whatever job it was and the kids would guess. I got feedback from teachers. The kids loved it. Also, I have been going into classrooms now. I have a schedule up with a bunch of teachers who have signed up for it. I recently went into Mrs. Simolis's room, which was kind of weird for me because she was my kindergarten teacher. But I went in there and actually read the book that I wrote in kindergarten. Fun fact about me, as it was a very greatly drawn depiction of butterflies to represent subtraction, which I don't know how I came to that idea, but I was 5, So I was showing it to them. I was like, "Oh, it's okay, you guys can laugh." And they're like, "No, we love it." And they were so sweet, and they were like hugging me after, and they loved it. I gave out some bookmarks. It was a really great experience. I'm going to continue to do that with other classrooms. And the last thing coming up is the kindness suitcase. So it is a great resource that Mrs. Stanley kind of brought up to Mrs. Koss, Mr. Buno, and I, and we're working with her on that. My next read aloud should be a book from that suitcase. It's called I Am Human, and I'll obviously speak more on that when I actually make that video.
In the middle school, previously in the past 2 weeks, we had the Into the Woods musical where over 20 middle schoolers had participated in, and upcoming, any musical cast members, pit members, or lighting members were invited to go see Into the Woods performed by UB on March 24th, April 24th at 7 p.m. So anyone that wants to go in that's going to be fun. And on April 2nd, the Greek Olympics where they are competing in random activities inspired by Greek themes. I personally don't remember it. Do you remember it?
I think it was COVID, remember?
Kylie remembers it. And they just do like weird Greek-inspired themes on April 2nd.
In high school, the seniors are getting together to start Senior Assassin this year. Culturally, we'll see how that goes. Tiger Innovations is producing apparel for all the spring sports, I think excluding softball. Currently, we're on tennis that is being produced this week. And thirdly, I'd like to thank the administrators for approving of our sign-out sheets that we can leave class to go and do deliveries, pick up materials, and anything else we need for the business. So thank you.
Very well.
Thank you.
With that, then, I'll turn it over to Ms. Taylor for her superintendent's report.
Okay. Once again, Mr. Kowalski and I are going to do some tag teaming. As the board in our community is aware, we did have a construction accident on our campus near the new stadium with one of our subcontractors. And whenever there is a situation in school, it gives us an opportunity to reflect. And I just first wanted to thank all of the first responders, the emergency responders that came to the scene. I personally went as soon as we were notified, and I'm sure speak for Mr. Mr. Kowalski as well, that we were extremely impressed with the speed and professionalism of that team in making sure that that individual received the care that he needed. But after any type of incident, we always like to bring everyone together to have a conversation about what went well and what we can learn moving forward, opportunities to enhance coordination and communication, and strengthen relationships across our shared community. So we're doing something a little bit different this time. We're going to host a community partner meeting. It's by invitation, where we will have members of both of our fire departments, the Akron Police Department, representatives from both the village board and the town board, as well as school board members. Did I mention Akron PD? I think I did. So very excited. We've received a great response to that invitation to come together. We're also going to engage in open dialogue and collaboration in conversations around alignment and annexation. So we're excited for that meeting. And then we're going to transition into giving you an update on the budget development process and then engage in some dialogue in regards to the tax levy.
Just as a review, currently from our state aid, or just a review of the state aid picture, officially the governor has proposed a 1% increase for all districts that are considered safe, harmless, so a minimum of 1%. Akron is one of the 68+%, so the majority of the districts in New York State that fall into this category. I will touch later on the fact that since our last board meeting, the one house proposals from the Senate and the Assembly have come out. Both of them have advocated for 2%. So right now, just something that I want to come back to later, but just make a point of, is that 1% increase amounts to about $117,500 or just under that. So if the 2% figure came through, we'd be looking at just about $235,000, give or take a couple dollars there. So again, 2% for a number, as we start to look at some other figures, is not as much as it may seem. In another reminder, our aid for 26-27 is above the current formula calculation, as it would be for any safe harmless district. And just to review, safe harmless means that if the formula would calculate that the school district would receive a decrease in aid, they would receive no less than the same aid they received the year before. And typically there is an inflationary factor, in this case the minimum 1% or 2% being added. Cumulatively over the past 2 years, the formula would suggest that we are receiving between $800,000 and $900,000 above what that formula would otherwise call for. So that's also a factor to keep in the back of our minds. From a tax levy standpoint, you see a 5-year review here or overview of our tax levy. The total tax levy amount has been in the $10 million range from about $10,168,000 5 years ago to this current year. Our tax levy is $10,684, just under $10,685. 10 million, that is. I said 1,000. I apologize. The percentage levy change from year to year has been between 0 and 2%. The past 2 consecutive years it has been 2%. 2 years it was 1%. 1 year it was flat. The state formula does allow for carryover from 1 year to the next. Akron historically has never done that in the history of the tax cap. Just a review of what that is. If the tax levy, if the actual tax levy is an amount less than the cap that could have been proposed to voters, that difference for 1 year is allowed to be added in a subsequent year. In other words, giving the district a potential chance, should finances not be as anticipated, to, on a one-time basis, add some of that money back to the tax levy. The tax cap, as previously explained at the last meeting, I believe, or 2 meetings ago, a calculation for this year with a number of factors works out to 3.30%. It's a very complicated formula with a number of exceptions, exclusions, inclusions, and things. The basis is the 2% that many people have heard throughout the state as a basis. However, number of factors can make that go up and down, up or down. And one of the things to also keep in mind is consistency, the ability for a district to keep its tax cap relatively consistent, as well as to hopefully keep the levy relatively consistent is ultimately the goal. But there's so many factors that go into to something like this. And in particular, when we do something like our current capital project, there's changes in our debt service, which is a natural part of any school district or municipality. As debt comes online, goes offline, aid comes online, goes offline. That's something that has to be carefully analyzed, carefully managed, and we've been doing that with the help of our financial advisor, Municipal Solutions, who's presented here before. Something else I've mentioned already, that any amount that is not considered in the adopted levy or approved levy can be added the next year. However, after that amount is essentially gone. The other piece I just want to remind everybody about is that the amount of the tax levy essentially makes up a base. Each year, which goes back a couple minutes ago to the dollar amounts that I showed. Each year, the tax cap is a percentage above that base. So the amount that the district can raise in a particular year to meet its budgetary needs is related to the amount that levy was set the year before. A higher levy set the year before, 2% of that higher number is going to generate a higher amount of tax revenue. So that is kind of touching on the compounding impact over time. This is a chart that's been shown before, and in 0.5% increase increments up to the maximum cap value of 3.30%. You see in the left-hand column the percentage of a potential levy increase. The actual real dollars that percentage generates is in the center column. For every 1% of a tax levy increase based on this current year's base, it would generate just under $107,000 of revenue for the district. The far right-hand column is the total potential levy, what that levy would be should the district choose to adopt the percentage increase that you see in the left-hand column. Again, this year we've gone with 2%, another 2%, that would be just under $214,000 on top of the current levy, which would put the current levy just under $10.9 million. You see for each 0.5% going up from there, it's about a little over $53,000. The maximum amount under the cap that the district could increase the levy, 3.30%, which would be an increase of about $352,000. Once again, there are so many reasons that this is a hard comparison to make, but the past couple of years I've made an attempt when talking about this to give an idea of what a potential tax rate could look like. Once again, keeping in mind that we have 7 different towns across 3 different counties with so many factors that go into what actually makes up a tax rate. And again, at the end of the day, the district and with the direction of the board and an approval from the voters is responsible for setting and adopting a tax levy, which is a dollar amount. That dollar amount then is collected by using the assessed values established by the town, and one divided into the other creates a rate. That being said, I can do my best here. Anybody can do their best to estimate what that might look like, but due to new assessments, due to changing assessments, new builds, all sorts of factors, the rates ultimately can change and many times end up being somewhat lower than projected like this. Ultimately, it's that dollar amount that's the focus. So with all that being said, the current rate in the town of Newstead, which was picked just because it's the majority of our households in the district, the current rate based on a 90% equalization rate was $8.94 per thousand this current year. So as you see on the top of this chart, no increase would leave a rate hypothetically at $8.94. With no increase, and that would give per $100,000 of assessment school taxes of $894. For each 0.5% increment, as you see going down the chart, that increase is just under, or just about 5 cents, or just under, as you see, it's 4.8 or 4.9 cents. So you see for a 1% increase, there'd be about a 10% increase, a 10 cent increase to $9.04 based on the current metrics. For a 2% increase, it's about a 19-cent increase, all the way up to the potential cap of 3.30%. At the absolute maximum that we could go out to, the increase potential would be 31 cents per $1,000, which would change the taxes on a per $100,000 of assessment by $31. So again, we're looking at the current rate where we went out this past year and the year before at 2%. That would look to be about a $19 increase per $100,000 of assessed value. Just a little bit of context I've done some research, but I've also been a resident here in the district for 16 years. I don't recall a budget in that time period anyway not passing. There's been a strong community support in time, certainly that I've lived here and certainly that I've worked here. I feel like strengthened on what already was trust in our district leadership, and also showing as a district that feel we understand our taxpayers expect us to value each dollar and value how it's spent and make sure that our budgets and our operations are as efficient as possible. Also, and that includes having an understanding and sensitivity to the inflation that we all feel right now. And that goes certainly at home in each household, as well as for the things that we have to pay for here at the school. As Mr. Alexander was presenting a short while ago, he mentioned our electric and utility and fuel bills. That's something each one of us deal with at home. It's something we're dealing with here campus as well. Again, it's a constant balance of trying to make sure that we are spending what we need to be sustainable, but also making sure that we're getting the maximum value for each dollar. A couple of things that some of this is review, some of this is a little more new information, especially in the world of schools, and every year there's different things, but there are escalating costs that really are beyond our local control here in Akron. Every district faces rising special education costs, and that's when I say that, referring mainly to placements for students in which we pay tuition, provide transportation. One of the biggest things, whether it be a school district, any other public entity, private entities, our health insurance increases. From a percentage standpoint, we have two different health insurance providers or plans that we have currently in the district. The average increases that we've now have from a percentage standpoint range from about 12 to just under 20% in dollars, and those dollars represent the premium dollars only. From a dollars and cents standpoint, that is a raw amount, an increase of $439,000. Additionally, one of the plans, there is an HRA that goes with it, and that HRA is projected to have about $193,000 cost to fund that as well. And just to go back,
I was just going to say, I think it's important to note that that $439,000 is four times the 1% increase in foundation aid that the district is potentially going to get. So
yeah, and combining maybe a best case scenario foundation aid with some of the tax levy in the area of where we've talked before, you're looking at all of that money right there, or just even slightly less of just the premium increases. Of course, any business or public entity has salaries to pay. There's fluctuations, both positive and negative, that kind of wash out this year in terms of the state retirement system benefits. Of course, unfunded mandates and things that New York State requires us to provide. And then we've already touched on several times rising energy costs, something as we're finalizing this budget, quite frankly, we're looking at very closely of, do we have the appropriate cushions built in here, not knowing where the market's going to go with fuel and electric and gas. Things that tie into all of the budgets and really the thought behind all of the hard work that the rest of our administrative team has done is trying to make sure that our budget reflects the supports needed for the implementation of new New York State graduation requirements. Certainly, along with our strategic plan and the input from our students and many conversations and presentations to this board, we're working to provide expanded course opportunities for students, also to maintain our technology. Akron's a great place and has a lot of up-to-date technology that, technology changes fast, and there's always things that we need to make sure we're maintaining and updating, while, as Mr. Schreiber mentioned, looking for efficiencies. Certainly, our administrators earlier talked about the fantastic achievement of our students. We want to make sure we provide the supports and resources necessary to keep that where it is here and keep our students having the experience that they are, provide our teachers with what they need to make that happen, and also to make sure there's flexibility for future boards. Every year is different. Every year presents its own set of challenges, and really, while this is only my second year in this particular role, my focus has been not just on 26-27, but especially looking at 27-28, 28-29 of how, what can we do this year that may hopefully have a positive effect on those future years to give us the maximum flexibility for things that we don't even know may exist at that time.
Yeah, and I'll just to say thank you to you. That is something that Mr. Kowalski has taken to heart and does an exceptional job with. As he's building this budget, he's building the next 5 years budget with that foresight. So thank you for that.
Sure. Nothing new here, but in terms of uncertainties out there, and we could probably name a long list, but the top things are certainly the uncertainties with federal funding. Akron does receive, as most school districts do, a number of different federal funding streams. At this point, you read different reports about what may or may not happen. Certainly, we're trying to be conservative with that, but we do rely on those federal funding streams. We don't want to count on anything that we may not have, but quite frankly, there are large portions of our programming, as with any district, that function based on those federal funds. I've already mentioned the foundation aid unpredictability. For so many years, when the when the foundation aid formula was working, so to speak, and enrollment was a little different across the state, it would be rare to be talking about a year-to-year 1% increase in aid. Not many things increase, only 1%. So that's once again something that really doesn't seem to have been solved. The Rockefeller study made a number of recommendations. Thus far, really not much has been adopted. A lot of talk and not a whole lot of change there yet. It is an election year. We don't know what could happen and what could be coming in the following years. Mandate shifts, we've talked about and openly a number of different mandates and directives from Albany that certainly will cost money with any changes in politically and in Albany or federally. Those could change tomorrow, or they could be something that adds more costs, and certainly the inflation that we all face.
So this is where we open it up to the board for conversation in regards to tax levy. I know where we left last time, we had committed to a tax levy of somewhere between 2% and 2.5%. You know, I do think that we have some additional information now that we didn't have when we spoke previously, particularly our health insurance premiums that came back at a 12 and 20% increase, and the drastic effect that that has on our budget, as well as increased concerns related to utilities, as we've noticed in the last few months with our trend in utility bills.
Do we, with those increased anticipated costs for healthcare and most likely utilities, are we still comfortable based on those numbers with the prior discussion we had looking at 2.5% or 2 to 2.5%? Would that provide the funding necessary? Even with those anticipated rising costs? Project, you know, and understanding that this is all projected.
Right. I will say yes. I will say that, you know, I look at it a little different than I did a few weeks ago, that, you know, you always hope for something to go down. You hope for everything to go down. Not much has there. I will say that we, and could get into a lot more detail. We do have, you know, to ultimately balance the budget between some thoughtful use of reserves. You know, that comes into play there as well. A concern I do have, especially looking into 27, 28, is to make sure that, you know, should there be a drastic change in the foundation aid, that we have the base there to be able to, you know, maintain a similar predictable levy that we've had. You know, at this point, looking and trying to project that cap, there's a number of different things that are there, but based on a number of factors, mostly, to put it simply, related to the project and some of the debt on and